Good evening and welcome everyone to our February 25th, 2026 Board of Douglas County Commissioners 5:30 business meeting. You may have noticed that I am not Chair Reed. She is out today, so I am filling in for her. If anyone would like a copy of the agenda, we have some paper copies at the back. And of course, as always, the full agenda packet is online for everyone to see. Looking at our agenda tonight, we will start with a proclamation. Then we'll have our consent agenda and then open for general public comment. And that's public comment that is not related to any items on our agenda. We do not have any regular agenda items for today, but we also have the opportunity for both either commissioners or the public to pull an item from our consent agenda for further discussion. So we follow our rules for public comment. So we have, for the time when we do general public comment, we will welcome general public comment for addressing issues that are not on today's agenda, but otherwise related to county business. Given our limited time and need to have an orderly and efficient meeting, we apply certain rules regarding public comment. We do our best to enforce the rules consistently and without regard to the point of view expressed by the speaker. First is each speaker will be limited to a total of 3 minutes of speaking time. However, we accept public comment of any length in writing. 2, individual speakers may not donate unused time to other speakers. 3, all comments must address topics within the jurisdiction of the County Commission. And 4, we reserve the right to mute or remove any speaker whose comments are threatening, aggressively hostile, or belligerent. Campaigning for public office during public comment period is not allowed. At that time, we'd ask you to give your full name and residence for our meeting minutes if you're comfortable doing so, and please address your comments up to the commission. We'll hear from people in person first and then look to Zoom meeting attendees. So please, if you're on Zoom, use your raise your hand function if you'd like to provide public comment virtually. Please know that comments received by the commission during our meetings do not necessarily represent the views of Douglas County government, but that we value the input. We don't usually respond to general public comment on the spot, but if you leave your contact information with county staff, we will try and get specific questions answered. After the general public comment concludes, we'd have our regular business agenda, which for tonight, we don't have a lot of items on that. And then we will have some appointments and commissioner and miscellaneous after that. So, lastly, a recording of this meeting will be available on the county's YouTube page and website. So our agenda our proclamation for this evening is about welcoming the Algerian national football team. And I believe, Commissioner, are you ready to read that? Thank you.
We welcome the Algerian national football team. Whereas Douglas County is honored to welcome the Algerian national football team to our community as part of the global celebration of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. And whereas known proudly as the Greens, the Phoenix, the Desert Warriors, the Algerian national team represents a rich tradition of excellence, resilience, and national pride, carrying forward the spirit of nation through sport. And whereas the journey to compete on the world's largest stage requires extraordinary discipline, sacrifice, teamwork, and perseverance, qualities that reflect the very best of global athletic competition and inspire communities across continents. And whereas Douglas County stands ready to receive these world-class athletes through 4 guiding pillars of hospitality and partnership. World-class preparation and facilities, ensuring athletes' training environments and operational excellence and seamless coordination so athletes can perform at their highest level. Unified community partnership, bringing together the City of Lawrence, the University of Kansas, Explore Lawrence, Douglas County, the Lawrence Chamber, and other regional partners in a spirit of collaboration and shared purpose. Cultural exchange and global friendship, celebrating the opportunity to connect our community with the people and traditions of Algeria, fostering understanding and mutual respect, and safety, care, and professional stewardship, providing thoughtful planning, coordinated public safety, and attentive support so that every player, coach, staff member, and visitor feels secure and welcomed. And whereas Douglas County is a community defined by character, courage, and commitment, values that align with the strength and determination embodied by the Desert Warriors. And whereas hosting the Algerian national team marks a historic moment for our country and deepens the bonds between Douglas County and the global community of sport. Now, therefore, the Board of County Commissioners, on behalf of the residents of Douglas County, do hereby proclaim our heartfelt welcome to the Algerian national football team, the Greens, the Phoenix, the Desert Warriors, and extend our best wishes for success, strength, and sportsmanship in the 2026 FIFA World Cup, adopted this 25th day of February 2026.
Thank you, Commissioner Anderson. And I believe we have both Kim and Ruth from Explore Lawrence. If one of you'd like to come in and talk a little bit more about the proclamation.
Hi, I'm Ruth DeWitt. I want to thank you, commissioners, for such a beautiful proclamation. I'm humbled to be up here to receive it on behalf of the 80 to 90 people who are formed as Lawrence 2026. None of us whom have the primary duties of organizing for World Cup in our job descriptions. So we are a fierce bunch. But the past year and a half, we've been working very closely together. We've formed bonds of trust and friendship and a mutual respect and collaboration with each other that I think will be beneficial to Douglas County for many, many years to come. Our friends from Algeria received their independence from France July 5th, 1962. By January 1st, 1964, they had a men's national team that was part of FIFA. So when you think of a people born from independence, freedom, and sport, kind of think of a match right here in Lawrence, Kansas. So I think we're going to have a lot in common with our core values of our friends from Algeria. So we are on a mission to make sure that our visitors are safe, that they represent and receive Lawrence's radical hospitality and our arts and culture. Our reputation precedes us a little bit from that since we've posted the announcement. The Explore Lawrence social media pages have been sort of blowing up with people from all over the world, Algerians in the States, Algerians in Italy, France, Algeria. But one post really stuck with me, which was a man from Texas who said, Algerians, as an Algerian living in Texas, you're about to encounter the most lovely people in the United States in Lawrence, Kansas. So and he said it says nothing about the chill vibe and the great nightlife. So our standards are high. We have a high bar to meet. We know that we're going to do it. And hopefully people who are able to come back will come back. And hopefully people for whom this is a once in a lifetime opportunity will get the word out to their friends and family. And we're excited to be on the global stage, and we know we can do it. So thank you so much. Thank you for making Lawrence and Douglas County a recognizable place that is what it is and helped us get this. And thank you for your continued support of our work. And as a thank you gift, we would like to gift you with our limited edition Lawrence 2026 scarves. So if we can pass those out, is it okay to approach and pass them out?
That'd be very
Okay,
sweet.
great, thank you.
We want to thank you also at Explore Lawrence for all the coordinating work you've been doing. And it's a broad team, as you mentioned, including with the county, to make sure that everything goes smoothly. So we're going to have them come up and take a photo with us. And then we have one more commissioner that is not here. We'll have to sign that also. We can get that back to you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here. Appreciate the work. That brings us to our consent agenda. Commissioners, are there any items on our consent agenda that you would like to pull for further conversation?
2.4, please.
Okay, we have 2.4. Commissioners, any other items to pull from the consent agenda? And anyone from the audience who would like to pull a different item from the consent agenda? Seeing none, Sarah, anyone online? Okay, with that, I would entertain a motion for the balance of the consent agenda.
I move we approve items 2.1 through 2.8 less 2.4.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. So that brings us to consent agenda item 2.4. Commissioner, do you want to start with questions? I think we'll bring Pam and her team up.
That'd be great. Thank you so much. Yeah, so Pam, if you wouldn't mind coming on up.
Still on.
Thank
Good
you.
evening, Commissioners. I'm Pam Weegan. I'm the Director of Criminal Justice Services. My agenda item, I just want to kind of give you a little background. The Criminal Justice Services budget is a little over $5 million, which includes grant funds from the Department of Corrections. The funds that we're talking about tonight are $570,965.63 in youth juvenile services funds. And I want to explain kind of what that fund is used for. We fund juvenile intake and assessment, which serves children in need of care and juvenile offenders from 0 to 18. And CJS has been operating intake and assessment since 2018. We also fund, and last year we had 267 intakes that came through our intake and assessment center, both SINCs and JOs. We also fund the immediate intervention program, which is our diversion program for youth. We had 164 diversions last year that went through the immediate intervention program. We've been operating that since 2017. We also operate case management, which is for youth that go to the youth center. We haven't had anybody attend the youth center or be sentenced to the youth center for years, so we don't do a lot of that. We also provide funding for the Juvenile Community Corrections Program, which is for high and moderate risk youth who are assigned by the court for probation purposes. Our success rate last year was 82% success in that program. Then the remaining funds, the $37,199 are for prevention programs. A portion of that is for Burt Nash rep services. And the other portion is we've used traditionally for truancy. I want you to know that we have had a comprehensive plan before the County Commission since 1998. And this is the first time that we've had it pulled from the agenda. I'll take full responsibility. I thought when we did the proposal with the commission that was the go-ahead. It's not. I've since had conversations with Kansas Department of Corrections on terms of how to remedy that situation, saying that we're not ready to commit at this point to what program we're funding. And they asked me to submit a basic placeholder application for truancy programming, unnamed truancy program for the $15,252 that we traditionally have provided to truancy programs since 2011, I believe. It's been the same amount for quite a long time. So that's why I submitted a revised application, a generic application for truancy program as a placeholder for that $15,252. And I'm open or willing to answer any questions you might have.
I know that you all have an upcoming meeting with the schools to kind of talk about how you're going to engage the schools. So I'm kind of curious, what are those next steps for writing those proposals into the grant application after you receive their feedback?
After we receive the feedback, I'll be visiting with Katie Fitzgerald and Sarah Plinsky and my team to figure out what we're going to apply for those funds for. Obviously, 15,252 isn't enough to fund any program entirely. So we'll need some commitment. The commission's going to fund a portion of whatever program selected or chosen or desired by the districts. And that may take us a little bit of time. This grant doesn't become effective until July 1 of 2026. It's the state fiscal year, July 1, 2026 through June 30th of 2027, and that's considered the 27 grant year, which is confusing because some of it falls in 2026. So we have a little bit of time.
I had a question. You
Yes.
mentioned 37,000 some odd dollars going to the RAP program.
No, that's for both prevention programs. That's not for both. That's the 37,000 is for both RAP and for truancy.
Okay, well, the portion that you spend on RAP, do you give that directly to Bert Nash or
Yes.
do you fund a part position somewhere?
We provide that funding to Bert Nash. They send us quarterly reports and we send them the money from that grant.
Thanks.
Kim, I know you had follow-up conversations after we kind of flagged the truancy portion of the larger grant with the Department of Corrections. In terms of putting in kind of a generic placeholder for those funds to do truancy, do we have until that July 1st before they're going to want to see more details from that, or what's that timeline of when?
Well, I think they would ideally like it before probably June at the very latest. It's not uncommon for agencies, we just have never done it, where they have had RFPs and things like that out and they're not ready to commit to a specific program. So the DOC's asked us to kind of outline a generic, what we would normally expect from a truancy program in terms of outcomes, et cetera. And this grant process is probably different than a lot of grant processes. It's not really competitive. It's really an allocation amount. The only reason that allocation would change is if the legislature decided to defund or increase funding to the Department of Corrections for field service programs.
And we routinely, like throughout the plan year, sometimes we amend it, sometimes we get additional notification from KDOC that additional funds are available that requires a plan amendment. That's, in my experience here, that's been happens on a somewhat regular basis.
Yeah, we've done that before. You're correct. We've edited and revised grant programs throughout the year when things change, especially if they change providers or as personnel change, we make adjustments, and KDOC is completely open to that and quite easy to work with on that in that regard.
Just out of curiosity, how does the state give you that money all at once or monthly or quarterly?
They give it to us quarterly. And then we have to submit reporting on a quarterly basis to show the expenditures for that fund. We typically end with a zero balance.
Do you know which portions of this application that you amended for truancy? Because I'm looking at, so for example, page 10 of 80, it's looking at the demographics. The program will serve students ages 5 to 15 years old that attend elementary, middle, and junior high school in Douglas County. And then it goes on to discuss the referral sources as well as the services provided. And I know you mentioned that you were seeking to make it more of like a general and remove the, I'm going to say like vendor that's going to be providing the services.
Right.
And at this time, a vendor is still listed.
On the revised?
Correct. Page 10 of 80.
I don't have the revised, I don't think.
Could be is that related to the existing project with Building Peace for neighborhoods?
Are you talking about the mediation?
That's our prevention program.
Uh,
That's different. I'm sorry,
Prevention's an intervention. The mediation's an intervention
That's
program. It's a reinvestment grant. It's a separate program.
Even though it also is referencing truancy and working with the schools.
It shouldn't be resident truancy. I'd need to see that. There's so many different pages. And I mean, I've got 191 pages of
I know.
your document, which is what I printed. So I would make sure that I was referring to the same thing you are. And I don't know the page number you're referencing.
10 of
relative.
80. That's, on my end, it says page 10 of 80.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Delinquency Prevention Program Summary is the title there.
And so it does reference truancy. And so like, I'm just trying to figure out like which pieces are like connected to truancy, which pieces I guess are not related or connected to truancy.
I'm sorry, I don't have what you're referencing, so I can't answer the question. I mean, we've tried to remove all the language related to specific program.
And I am seeing it online, Commissioner. I think we could, if the commission is supportive, we could modify that before it is submitted to the state.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll go back through it and make sure it's appropriate.
There's other specific questions. Got a comment, but I can hold.
Because, okay, so I just want to call it like specifically, this one says the facilitator will contact and work in conjunction with the school and the truancy officer as issues arise that need attention with the school district. And so it is talking about the particular vendor, the local supportive services. And so I guess this is kind of where,
Yeah, I think we would remove that second paragraph there and just submit and probably, and may actually make it more generic overall and just reference a truancy program that is yet
Yeah,
to be determined.
I tried to change the language to Douglas County Truancy Program and leave it fairly generic.
I think we missed a few spots on page 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
Their form is really difficult to use because it doesn't really show you. You have to keep scrolling and scrolling to find what you're doing. I'll go back through it and correct that.
okay. And so I guess my thought is, so if we do know that we still have some more work to do on this particular document, and you will be meeting with the schools on Monday, I'm just wondering if we have a little bit more time. I know we do have some time constraints, but if maybe I would like to defer this until next week so that you do have the time to meet with the schools, to make the changes that you do have here to make, and then to bring this back before the commission on Wednesday of next week. So
Aye.
that's
I don't think you're having a meeting next week. It'll probably be the 11th.
the 11th. Okay.
Yeah. And I don't have any problem with that. It's due to the Department of Corrections by the 13th at midnight.
Okay. As long as you don't have a problem with that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Yeah, I think we could do that. I don't know that we'll have everything lined out on the truancy program, but we could certainly make the edits to this document and make sure it's reflective of at least what we know at that time. I would want, as the commission has asked, I want to bring you back a more full fleshed out program on truancy. So this would probably just be a more generic statement, but we can certainly bring that back to you on the 11th. Is that following the commission's directive?
Do you want to ask your questions?
I was, I think, tracking in the same direction that I am really glad for the kind of the rework to make that broad while we engage some partners. And I really think I've had some great conversations in the community, and I think you have several of us have. And we just kind of need to pull all those back together. And the biggest piece being with the school districts, and I'm glad that that's happening here pretty soon. I don't feel the need to rush a program. I think getting it before next school year will already be a bit of a rush to get something that's really good. So I'm comfortable with if we can get it, really generic language on the truancy piece. The rest of it, I'm very happy with, and as along with the other consent agenda items that are also kind of in the same format that we approved. But I'm probably getting out ahead of our public comment that I think we're going to have on this. But I think people I think our partners are really stepping up and paying attention now in ways that we've kind of wanted to get them more interested. So I'm excited for the conversations that are happening now. And I think if we're all able to kind of stay curious for a little bit of time, but I'd be worried to try and get something, settled on by the commission within a short time frame. I'd rather us do it really right and bring those voices along. I know I have some meetings that haven't happened yet that are on the books, so.
Well, I'm staying around, so if you have more questions after the public comment, you're welcome to, I'll come back up.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioners, are we ready for public comment or any other questions for? Okay. Now that we've pulled this agenda item, it is available for public comment. Is there anyone in the room who would like to have 3 minutes and address the commission about this particular topic? I don't think we have a sign-up sheet out, do we?
Good evening. I'm Jan Sheldon. I live here in Lawrence. I appreciate the opportunity to speak about funding for the Prevention Dollars for Truancy in the 7th Judicial District Comprehensive Plan. I'd like to give you a little history about the program
And do you mind getting a little closer to the mic? You
that
can,
is being suggested by the Center for,
okay,
am I?
so am I. So
So
if we can get a little
chemotherapy
closer.
destroyed my hearing, so I don't.
Thank you.
Get a little closer.
Oh, sorry. So I'd like to give you a little history about how the program that is being proposed by the Center for Supportive Communities, Support Ed, is how that developed. Jean Shepherd and I were in law school together, and we were both interested in working with children and juveniles and families in the court system. And so we participated in a clinic here with the district attorney's office and worked with children and youth. And at that time, Judge Mike Elwell was a judge who handled most of the cases involving children and youth and families. And he stated that he saw that a lot of the children and youth who were coming before court as juvenile offenders had a history of not going to school. They had attendance problems. And he was wondering if there was a program that could be developed that might help them go to school so that they would not progress and lead on into criminal behavior. And as you know, Jean Shepherd then went on to work in the district attorney's office, and then she became one of the judges and handled all the child in need of care and juvenile offender cases. I have 1 minute. Thank you. So I was hired at KU as a professor. I was teaching. I had students who were wanting to participate. We got them involved with the district attorney's office, and we developed the Douglas County KU Truancy Prevention and Diversion Program. And the undergraduates then work with all the children and youth who are referred. And so that's the program that is being proposed by the Center for Supporting Communities and the Support Ed program. We have data that shows that it was a successful program, that it helped the families, the children get to school, and we have data that shows that the families appreciated it and participated in it and were happy with it.
Thank you so much.
Any questions? But the chemotherapy destroyed my hearing, so if someone can.
Oh, we're good. We'll have the next person come up, but thank you so much.
Turn up the volume. What?
Mhm.
Oh,
Thank you.
No questions. Okay, thank you.
Do we have any others who would like to make public comment on this item? Seeing none in the room, do we have anyone online? Okay.
Irving Koo, you have been moved into the panel. You have 3 minutes to provide your public comment.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm Dr. Irving Koo. I'm a psychiatrist. I have been a resident of Lawrence, Kansas for almost 3 years now after my retirement. And I have had the opportunity to engage with the issue of truancy in 2 ways. My first volunteer job was for the Douglas County Court in their Citizen Review Board program, where I and fellow citizens get together and do hearings for sync cases and also for truancy cases. I also wound up volunteering as a support ed mentor shortly after that. So I was able to look at both sides of truancy. I was really pleased with what I saw in terms of the support ed program. Not so pleased with my experience through CRB with the high school program. There is really a qualitative difference in the approach. In the support ed program, I met with students on a weekly basis. I met with families on a weekly basis. I met with school teachers on a weekly basis. And this mentor model, I think, really allowed me to be able to understand what was going on with the student and within their environment on what was influencing them not to go to school, and to be able to brainstorm and look at solutions for that. The case management model that I saw that O'Connell Children's Shelter utilized for high school students really was not nearly as intensive, and in my mind, not nearly as successful in being able to assist with being able to kind of put the brakes on truancy. I also saw a huge difference in documentation for each case. In the CRB, I get to review documents from O'Connell Children's Shelter, from their case managers, as well as documents from cases brought in where the support ed mentors were seeing the children. And just a tremendous difference in the amount of information about the whole situation. So I don't know what the ideal, and it's certainly the support ed program I don't think is perfect, but I do think that it is superior to what I saw. And I'm hoping that this new program will take into consideration many of the strengths of that particular program. I am also somewhat puzzled about why the support ed program seems to be kind of pushed aside. I haven't really been able to get any kind of answer on what they didn't do well or how they did not seem to meet expectations.
Dr. Ko, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Is that the last of our hands raised? Okay. It's the last of our public comment. Bring it back to the commission for any other questions or follow-up conversations. Or motions.
I think the public commenters tonight were talking more on the general truancy program as a whole rather than this particular grant. Is that the way everybody else read it?
Commissioners, I am comfortable with, since we have a little bit of time and not a lot of time, but I'm comfortable with having this come back to us with the generic language for truancy kind of worked in on page 10, and I don't have any other hesitations with it. I am really glad that we're having good conversations and we've gotten a chance to kind of take a beat on truancy, but I'm, for myself anyway, not pushing to have a program entirely spelled out by the time this would come back to us. That's why I'm at. The other commissioners?
We don't have to vote to defer, do we? We just say bring it back.
I think we should vote to defer if that's
We
the
vote to
case.
defer.
With a specific reason for deferral. And I would make that motion if anybody wants me to.
Please.
I moved to defer the fiscal year 2027 Kansas Department of Corrections 7th Judicial District Juvenile Community Corrections Comprehensive Plan Grant application to the March 11th meeting, just looking for the changes of making the program language around truancy more generic and leaving us some options.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes 4-0. That concludes our consent agenda. Brings us to general public comment. Are there any members of the public who would like to speak to us for 3 minutes on items that were not covered on today's agenda? Seeing none in the room, do we have any hands raised there? All right, that concludes our general public comment. We have no regular agenda items scheduled for this meeting. We move on to appointments. Commissioners, are we ready for any appointments?
I don't think I have any new ones unless, I know we're still working on the non-lawyer appointments, but unless,
I've got conversations in the works.
okay, great.
For that, we go to Commissioner and or Administrator Miscellaneous, and we usually start with Sarah's memo.
Thanks, Commissioners. My updated memo is in the packet. Some dates coming up. I wanted to point out, we got notice from the Health Department that the Kansas Department of Health and Environment is hosting several virtual trainings for county officials and county commissioners related to public health. Thought some of you might be interested in those, so you might want to take a look at some of those. And there's an invitation for a JAAA luncheon in May. Want to make sure, as commissioners heard at our 4:00 work session, appraisal notices for 2026 change in value are going to be going out this week. And also we attached a memo related to Artists Helping the Homeless and their budget allocation amount. I wanted to document and be fully transparent with the commission. Both us and Artists Helping the Homeless got an incorrect amount listed in their budget documents. So we include a full memo there that goes through the accounting of what we're going to be correcting on their service agreement. You also have the turnaround report from Little Government Relations. And also we've attached the Lawrence Community Shelter 2025 annual report. There's a lot of information, and that was related to some of the A Place for Everyone data that we talked about a few weeks ago. So I want to make sure commissioners had a chance to reference that. As was alluded to earlier, commissioners, I've checked with staff. We don't have any work sessions scheduled for next week. And the only agenda item I had planned was a presentation from Little Government Relations. So it would be my recommendation that we not meet next week and wait and then meet again on the 11th. But obviously that's a decision of the commission.
Thank you, Sarah. Commissioners, any miscellaneous items, or do you want to take up the topic of next week's meeting?
Don't have any miscellaneous items, and I'm fine with, if we don't have a full agenda, not meeting next week.
Agreed. No miscellaneous and good with not meeting next week.
Same here. I believe we've covered our business for the evening, and we are adjourned. Thank you all.